I welcome you all to our live webinar today on the topic Impact of COVID on Indian IT industry. My name is Vikram Gupta, and I'll be your host for this event today on behalf of Meritroad, an edutech company which I started a few years back. And today we are supported by Amity Innovation Incubation. But before I introduce my distinguished guest panel, let us take the relevance of IT industry into perspective. The IT industry in India has been the crown jewel for the last 2 decades. It has not only provided millions of jobs to us, but it has also provided global recognition to Indians. Today, most of the heads of IT companies across the globe are having origins from India. Whether you talk about the head of Microsoft or Google or IBM or many other organizations. Indian IT industry has helped many middle-class families in achieving their aspirations. And in the past, this industry has fought many crises such as outsourcing issues, global financial recession, and dot-com burst in sometime 2000. And every time Indian IT industry has fought this battle with a lot of creativity and has come back even more stronger. Hence, today we see that in the current corona crisis, all the businesses across the world have been taken by surprise. They have been impacted both horizontally as well as vertically. However, in today's session, we are going to talk about the impact, particularly on the IT industry in India. With those words, I would now like to welcome my distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Jyoti Sureka. Mr. Jyoti Sureka is the founder and managing director of Impressico Business Solutions. After an MS in computer science from Iowa State University, USA, he has worked for more than 25 years with entrepreneurial experience both in US as well as India. He founded Impressico Business Solutions in 2008, which today is one of the global technology organizations across the globe. It is headquartered in Delhi NCR region and got offices in US, UK, and Canada. Impressico has got clients and partners in North America, Europe, Asia, Indian domestic markets, and includes some of the globally recognized brands such as NFL, Verizon, Aramark, Panasonic, Hitachi, to name few. With these words, I would like to now welcome Jyoti to please address the audience, please. Hi, Jyoti. Nice to have you.
Yeah, hi, Vikram. Thanks very much for having me here with you. And it is indeed a pleasure. And thank you to everyone who has joined in this conference. I hope everyone has been fine and has kept safe and well during this lockdown period in India. And, I do want to say that I'm sure that we have all gone through, challenging times, but the most important thing about as human beings is that we have this thing called hope, and I'm sure we all, will get out of this and be hopeful to see a better day, in time to come. So let me just quickly just say a few things about Impressico. So Impressico, we are a services organization. We were founded in 2008. We have offices in Canada, the United States, the United Kingdom, and also here in addition to Delhi NCR, which is where we are headquartered, we also have offices in Hyderabad. And basically, most of our clients are predominantly US based. That's where our major focus is, and that's where we have these big name brands such as the ones that we have worked currently or in the past, such as NFL, Verizon Wireless, Aramark, Yapstone, which is a big payments processing company, which is services the likes of HomeAway, which is part of Expedia or Bookings.com. And in India, we're working with Panasonic India and Hitachi, Godfrey Phillips, to name a few. And we are doing naturally, as like any technology organization, we are striving to enter or rather get into things that are uh, being used or popular these days, such as artificial intelligence, IoT. In fact, we are working with Panasonic, and we have recently launched a lifestyle product for Panasonic, which is IoT based, which controls home automation. And also we're doing facial analytics and many more. And so, yeah, that was a very quick introduction to Impressico. Thank you once again, Vikram, for having me on. So I'm ready for any questions that you may have.
Sure, Jyoti. So, Jyoti, let's talk about the impact of COVID on IT industry in India. Now, given that the impact is going to be huge, we cannot talk about the entire impact in one go. So let's talk about the impact in phases, like short term, mid-term, and then go on to the long term. So starting with the short term, what do you feel is the immediate or short term impact of current crisis in terms of revenue or business in Indian IT industry?
So Vikram, the reality is that this pandemic has affected everyone in the world, right? It has affected all businesses, and no one is exempt. Uh, IT essentially is a servicing organization, right? In the sense that it services all kinds of businesses. And if any business gets impacted, IT also gets impacted. However, during this crisis, there are some businesses that have got more impacted than others, such as the travel industry, the entertainment industry, the hospitality industry. So those have been directly impacted. So IT organizations that have predominantly been servicing those industries will be more impacted than others. Okay, so having said that, there also is a realization that during this, that has happened during this lockdown, that IT is a great enabler to do things, and even those that kind of shied away from IT are realizing the benefits of incorporating IT in their business operations and having systems. So that's definitely going to be a gain, and that we'll also see more adoption of IT. But having said that, definitely there's been an impact on revenue. I can speak for our organization. I can speak for others, other organizations, other people that I'm in touch with who are at leadership roles in these different organizations. So everyone, there's definitely an impact on revenue. And, if there's an impact on revenue, and especially if there's a major impact, there's definitely going to be an impact on expenses, right? And to how to make things work. And we do know that the biggest expense for Indian IT is the workforce, right? So it's going to vary from organization to organization, but definitely during this time, a lot of organizations will be hard hit, and that is an area where people are going to be definitely looking at to see how we can how things can be worked upon in this most difficult time.
Right. So let's go back to a report issued by McKinsey and another report by Accenture, which says that the negative impact on IT industry is going to be least roughly between -10 to -20%, as compared to other industries like automobile, retail, aviation, hospitality, which they have predicted to be going to -70 to -90%. So do you kind of, uh, do you kind of second this opinion that IT industry is still way better off as compared to other industries?
Absolutely, Vikram. For those that are associated with the IT industry, I think so. We have to count our blessings, because the reality is also that most of us are able to continue working from home during this time, right? Uh, we are able to do, you know, code. We are able to project manage. We are able to architect, deliberate, have conferences with clients, right? And so definitely, we are not as impacted as, a person who owns a restaurant, or you know in India you have the IPL, right? So the sporting leagues and what have you, right? The entire, all the stadiums and everything like that. So I mean, definitely we are less impacted. Having said that, the cinema halls, having said that, again, let me reiterate, um, IT organizations that are technology partners to these entities will be impacted, because those organizations have been impacted like at 100%. There is no business, so they would be really looking at the cost during this time. And if they were thinking of upgrading, or if they had support contracts, what's there to support when there's no business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So IT is also going to be impacted, but again, we are fortunate that we are impacted uh, minimally. Rather, I would say definitely a lot less than many other organizations. Um, and we hope that continues to be the case. As the lockdown uh, unwinds itself, be it in India, be it in the United States and other places, uh, it is it remains to be seen what's going to transpire. You know, will At that point of time, when people look at their books and see what and decide on the go forward plan, there may be, if the indications are that, hey, things are going to bounce back, then maybe they won't do drastic cuts. If 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 the if the outlook is that it's not going to be good, then there may be some more cuts in time to come. But hey, uh, again, we have to be hopeful, uh, uh, you know like everyone in these times.
True, true. And Jyoti, like the IT industry is composed of, let's say, uh, BFSI space, retail and e-commerce, health, entertainment,
Mhm.
out of which 28% is BFSI, 34% is retail and e-commerce, 8% healthcare. Uh, Out of these verticals, which really constitute the entire industry, uh, we know that probably entertainment and aviation is going to be, you know, worstly impacted. So, are we little sensitive in terms of working, for these clients who come from little sensitive verticals? So, if let's say, to give an example, let me rephrase: if a new client comes from, from aviation or hospitality, and they want to do business, as a technology company, are we a little sensitive in going forward with the deal, or are
uh,
there any checklists that needs to be that is being made or that will be made?
um, See, let's be very clear, right? Okay, we are in a situation right now, but this is not going to remain forever. This is not permanent, right? This is um, COVID-19 will do its damage. It's already doing its damage, but one day it will go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not as like we are predicting the end of going out, or schools or colleges, or sports or restaurants, right? Um, and moreover, there's also, we also talking about herd immunity. So like, if you talk about how Sweden is going about it, or some other countries are going about it,
Mm-hmm.
they're not closing down restaurants and shops. And um, so so if today, if there's, say, Boeing comes to an IT organization with a deal, of course they are looking at the future, right? No one's predicting doomsday. They're looking at the future, and I don't think one should be wary of of going ahead with a contract.
Mhm.
Uh, the reality is that this sort of thing could never be predicted by anyone, right? I mean, I was speaking to a close friend at a leadership role at Infosys, and he mentioned the same, that this is while you always look at risk, something like this cannot be planned, and at least you know there was a Spanish flu which was like more than 100 years back, but
Mhm.
you can never. Um, this was not foreseen, so I don't think so. While organizations may rethink on work from home strategies or hiring strategies, onboarding strategies, and so on and so forth, but from a business perspective, um, the pandemic is not going to be a reason for someone to ponder upon, right? Whether to go ahead with a deal or not. Having There could be other reasons. There could be other reasons which are basically based, which are the realities or the nuances of that particular industry itself, right? I mean, um, it could be something with a leading food chain, which is not very popular. So you may want to, if that's the case, then uh, I are you going to be you got to figure out whether you're going to be stuck with debts in that organization or not. But I don't think the pandemic is a reason for us, for anyone to choose a contract.
Got it. Yeah. And Jyoti, again, we stick to the short term for a while. From an employee's perspective, uh, perspective, do you believe that you are expecting any kind of a tax rebates or concessions from the government, or any kind of an aid? And if so, what would that be?
That would be very nice, right? Vikram, to tell you the truth, um, I mean, the Western countries such as Canada, the United States have come out with these stimulus packages, uh, in their countries, which are geared to help organizations continue with their um, you know continue with their workforce, probably not have uh, not lay off people, etc. Because the reality is that people are struggling. If we look at, uh, as I mentioned earlier, most of our clients are US based, and there are organizations where people have gone on furlough because if there's an organization which whose revenue depends totally on sports, etc., that's come down to zero, right? So the government has stepped in to try to give aid to these organizations, be it at a minimal interest or zero interest, or even to um, probably pardon the and from paying back the aid that it has given, if the organization follows some guidelines. The reality is that I even though I think the industry was expecting certain um, uh, assistance from the government, I don't believe that we will get it. India is a very complex country. We have a lot of challenges. There's this entire migrant issue which needs attending to. The sad reality is that while you and I, for whatever be the case, we are in the safety of our homes. The
Mhm.
migrant population is, they are undergoing hardship and they have to be attended to. And India doesn't have deep pockets. So I, there are many areas that the government needs to put in money. And while something like this would be very welcome in to the industry, but I don't think it's going to be coming. Having said that, again, there are industries which are more impacted than the IT industry. So if at all the government comes out with some guidelines or stimulus, I'm not too sure how much of a benefit the IT industries will be able to take of it, because the government is going to be cognizant that, hey, at least this industry is kind of staying afloat when we need to get back some of the other industries to get the economy going. So that's and entrepreneurship in India is we have to do it on our own, man.
Can't agree more on
Yeah,
that.
against all odds, and that's if you ask me, that's a very good thing, right? Because that's what makes Indians to do very well when they go outside, because we from the very beginning, there's tremendous competition and there's a lot of struggle, and that's the reason why when we are outside and find environments and platforms that allow us to be the best, we come out shining, right? So
True.
yeah.
In a way, it kind of increases our immunity system, whether it's on fighting any kind of crisis, with economic crisis or even health crisis. Like one of the reports was saying that probably Indians they have a slightly better immunity as compared to Western world and European world, and probably that's the reason that it's not hitting us that bad. So different kind of theories, but yes, we are born stronger probably, and given that kind of environment we have, whether we like it or not, it is increasing our immunity every second as we speak.
You said it. You said it. That's what I've been when in my conversations with people, predominantly in the United States and some other people around the world. I feel that as Indians, we given that there are so many imperfections that we are constantly fighting. Our bodies are constantly fighting against the germs and bacteria, right? Because as you cannot be alienated and not go through crowded streets or where there are cows and dogs and pigs and God knows monkeys and whatever, right? And so we live and thrive amongst them, right? So there's a lot of animal bacteria also. I was watching this video of Kiran Majumdar Shaw, and she mentioned the same thing. So I think our bodies are constantly getting infected, and we are developing antibodies to fight some of these. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, saying my prayers that hopefully India can come out of this crisis with a far lesser fatality count than many other countries. And as you rightly said, so that same resilience is there even with us, even as we work either as an entrepreneur or as a talented workforce in any organization. Yeah.
True. Okay, so now moving on to the job scenario currently in Indian IT industry. So let's go back to an online survey that was done recently in the month of April and till mid of May in the year 2020. I mean, during the Corona crisis. And this online survey was done in 1,100 plus companies across all domains. Nothing specific to IT. It was IT as well as non-IT. And the results of that survey was astonishing because more than 70% of the companies felt that they'll be decreasing the salary of their employees. Nearly 57% companies said that they're going for a temporary layoff, and nearly 30% companies said that they'll be going for a permanent layoff, at least for next 1 or 2 years. Since the survey was, domain agnostic, nothing specific to IT, my question to you is, where would you position Indian IT industry among these numbers? Do you think these numbers are also a reflection of Indian IT industry or something else?
Well, you just mentioned, right, this was domain agnostic. So we already established that the IT industry at large is globally has been less impacted than other industries, and and then if you talk about Indian IT industry, I would say that kind of that remains to be the same. It's not as if we are not impacted. So now let's talk about letting people go. It's the world has never seen a tougher time. I mean, people are saying that World War II does not even compare. I mean, this is diminished, right? The impact of World War II to this, because the reality is that everyone's reeling from the effects of this. Everyone. I mean, you
Mhm.
talk about any continent, Africa, Europe, of course, we all know, South America, North America, Asia, from China, and India, everywhere, right? Everyone's reeling through this, right? Um, if you look, if you, and before I come to Indian IT industry, I want to tell you. So if you keep track of the news that of what's going on in the United States, I mean, there'll be organizations. You'll see Hertz has filed for bankruptcy. There are others that have filed for bankruptcy. You'll hear news that this organization has laid off these many people and that many people. In in the West, organizations are not that sensitive to job cuts, because um, that's the way it is. It works there. I mean, I think it seems to be a very business. Um, I'm not saying that people don't stick in to organizations for long term. They do, but it seems to be like a very business deal. Hey, you want us, we want you. We have a relationship. If either of us
Mhm.
doesn't want each other, we cut the cord, right? And especially something like this, you keep hearing of a lot of layoffs in the West, right? Especially the United States. Coming to India, uh, we have not heard of that much in India across industries. The Prime Minister of India, when he announced the lockdown, um, he made a plea to entrepreneurs to try to retain people, and pay full salaries, right? I've naturally talked to people in different industries also, and everyone is in reeling from the after effects of this, right? But you don't hear that much. Um, you don't hear that much in the Indian industry that people have been laid off, and at least so far we didn't hear. But
Mhm.
that, I'm not too sure how long that can be.
Mhm.
Um, if we have a major turnaround, then maybe perhaps you an industry or two could absorb the shock. But can this go on forever? No. I mean, where's money going to come from? You know, if the revenue tap has dried up, right? So um, coming to the Indian IT industry, each organization is different, right? I mentioned at the very beginning, right? For those organizations that have focused a lot of to service industries that have been impacted severely on this pandemic, uh, uh, and if they don't have a plan, or if they don't have cash reserves, I see no option. I see no option but to lay off people, or work it out with folks within to try to reach an agreement to continue during this time, right? There are then of course, if I think that though there could be organizations that have gone on um, major onboarding or major hiring, uh, just as a strategy. And if it's, and you have numbers that are disproportionate hugely to the revenue that you are making right now, and your expenses not being met, there will be an impact. There's one would expect either job cuts, or salary reductions. Now, I also know, and has spoken to other people within the industry, right? So let's also in India, it works slightly differently, especially in the Indian IT industry, because um, Indian IT so far has been fortunate that there's been a lot of demand for talent, and people uh, are very sensitive to the fact if any organization lets people go. So I think the decision makers of pretty much every organization realize that, and not be it on a reputation, but also but from a compassion perspective, right? This is the worst time to let people go, right? So people are trying to also taking it step by step, month by month, to see how things go. If if they can absorb uh, you know uh, uh, temporary setbacks or setbacks that are not significant. So we Impressigo is also in the same situation, right? We
Mhm.
also monitoring things as we go along, keeping our hopes high. We are hopes up, working very very hard to uh, to you know to garner business, right? So yeah, I mean, it's coming back to your original question. Naturally, uh, Indian IT industry is not impacted by the numbers that you are saying, but there is impact. But I do want to say one thing, Vikram. As uh, as we go along in the next few months, and when people get a very very clear sense of how it's going to be, uh, I really sincerely hope not, but you may if the outlook does not good, then there will be even IT industry will be impacted.
True.
But
True.
naturally we are hoping that that's not the case.
Right. Uh, I think in the short term, probably Indian IT industry was better off for the reason was that the revenue didn't go zero to zero, because a lot of industries said that like for the month of April and May was nearly zero revenue. Probably that was one reason. The second reason was that IT industry always had a BCP, business continuation plan. Like there was a lockdown and everybody probably had a laptop, and if not, then they were able to work remotely.
Yeah.
Probably the other industries did not have that option or luxury, and hence, we were still way better off. Do you think that would be a fair assessment, Jyoti?
Because of that, yes, of course, the fact that you can continue your work in your home environment is a big plus, right? I mean, and we have naturally uh, enabled people to do so. I mean, I've I guess that's in an organization like Infosys. I've come to know that which has very very high numbers. Even they were able to enable people that are in lakhs to work from home. It's no small feat, right? But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, uh, definitely the ability for us to conduct business from our homes and be productive, right? And uh, basically, the reason clients are paying us for developing systems, the fact that you are able to continue to do so
Mhm.
is a great is a reason for this, right? If you were able to you know uh, conduct a restaurant business,
Mhm.
just like if you had uh, cooks of a particular restaurant, okay, and were able to you know uh, create those dishes from the comfort of their home, and and send it off to uh, what do you call a guest, right?
Mhm.
Uh, you know if something like that could happen, then that industry would still be okay. But the reality is that that cannot happen right now, right? So
Got it.
definitely we are in a position that we this industry can function in the comfort of our homes for the most part. I can't talk about every situation. There could be certain things which have immense sensitivity, or there could be the need for a certain systems that require of physical presence. Um, but yeah, for the most part, we can conduct our businesses from the comforts of our home, and that's a big plus.
True. And Jyoti, so I think right now we just mentioned that IT companies were able to save across for multiple reasons, but there could be scenarios where there are small IT startups, uh, probably 5 people, 10 people, who probably do not have enough of cash runway. Uh, what would be your message or suggestion to those people? Because it's going to be really hard for those people to even sail for next 3 months. What do you feel they should do to reduce job losses, or maybe uh, in the worst case, shut down of their operations? What would be your suggestion to them?
So, so, um, so,
And first of all, is it possible? Sorry, I interrupted you there. But is
no,
it
no.
possible for them to do something to find a workaround to sail through this?
So, everything is possible, right? Everything is possible. I mean, at the end of the day, uh, what's the expense, right? Expense of any organization comes in workforce expense. It comes in, uh, you know, rental expense. It comes in system expense. Any systems that you take, and things like the internet and a few other things, right? So so see, the reality is that the the folks that are working with this startup, right? Um, you know, Clearly, right, the job market is not at its best right now. It's not it's not a great time to be looking for a job from where I see it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so so I would naturally, these people who are working for the startup join the organization, with the best intentions, and the a person and the founder of that startup also, recruited these individuals with the best mindset, right? This was not something that either one of them had prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would say that you one would you should one should try to establish um, a, a scenario where the outflow is a lot lesser. Okay, and for it to be compensated when things become better, right? So if for example the productivity is, if it was 100% prior to this, and if the productivity can still be 100%, then to strike a deal with the folks that are within that, to maybe take some pay cuts and go on for maybe a longer period of time, where when things become better, and
Mm-hmm.
with the promise that when things become better, they would be compensated in this way or that way, right? Or if one does not to one does not is not required to work at 100% productivity, then establish a 50% productivity scenario, right? And and expense accordingly. You should also try to reach out to the people, if you have a physical office, and reason and negotiate with these people, right? Because clearly you're not using it. If you vacate that place, then no one is going to come right now. So I the sad reality is that um, there's no the government of India has not um, uh, established any concessions for organizations that have these fixed costs, and because of the lockdown you're not able to use it, but you still have to pay for it. If
Mm-hmm.
there was, then things could have been done easier. But the biggest thing I would say is that try to establish a, a, a way where you could continue for a longer period of time, right? I think I know of some people who have done this. you know for businesses that have been impacted, they've said, hey, let's all go on a 50% salary,
Mm-hmm.
work for 50%, and let's see how far, till the time we come out of this. And
True.
yeah, I think that can be done, Vikram. When there's a will, there's a way.
And I think that's the methodology which can work not only in startups, but it can work all across companies of different sizes, right? Like,
I know of so many organizations which are non-IT related that have, and big organizations that have taken pay cuts. Okay, huge pay cuts. There have been organizations where people at the senior level have taken, deep cuts, and then there are organizations where, like, the business is zero. The executives have been said that don't even expect any salary for the next few months, right? And I think that's fine. I think that's fine because see, when the going is good, everyone uh,
Mhm.
everyone participates in that. When the going is not so good, we should people should be cognizant about the situation and participate. Now, I can understand for about those people who are at the bottom, or maybe people who have just joined an IT organization, or you know whose salaries are not high, right? So
Mhm.
we have to be really sensitive about those people because they're probably just making the ends meet, right?
True.
So yeah.
Cool. All right. Jyoti, another question is like, as per another online survey, the employees which have experience of 10 years plus, they are expected to go on, highest number of layoffs, close to 31%. However, people with lesser experience are expected to have a layoff of, let's say, 15 to 18%. So do you think, again, these numbers are sector agnostic? So my question to you is, do you think that, senior folks in the IT industry are going to be evaluated more critically as compared to junior folks? Because the catch here is, in the current situation, you need to maintain the quality also, and hence we need senior folks. Because they are the face of the company, they will be talking to the clients, they'll be doing all the work, but they are pricey as well. Uh, and so there are pros and cons. So my question to you is, even in the current situation, do you think senior folks are going to be evaluated more critically and, you know, as compared to junior folks?
So yeah. Um, so let me tell you, right? Um, uh, See, you mentioned IT to be the crown jewel of India. You mentioned the people, middle class families, or whoever, right? It doesn't matter. I mean, have people have met their aspirations. IT industry in the Indian IT industry is probably maybe after finance or or equivalent to finance, pays the most in the country, right?
Mm-hmm.
Salaries are very competitive, and so and that's because see, uh, folks have a choice to work with organization A or organization B. Everyone's competing for that talent, right? And as a result of that, the demand goes up, and when the demand goes up, the price goes up, right? So now, assuming all's good, everyone benefits, right? But what happens when things there's business loss? Suddenly, the people that you are paying, um, who are drawing huge compensation packets, they get highlighted. They get highlighted, and more so, perhaps those people uh, that you might have had to pay a premium to you might have had to pay a premium to on board. Okay. um, so so I definitely feel that for those organizations where um, uh, folks at the senior level, mid to senior level, are um, they don't have projects, that's going to become a big pain and for organizations, right? And also a point of focus for those organizations. um, uh, unless you're talking about huge volume for on people that have uh, uh, an experience, who are just freshers or maybe a lesser experience, right? um, I mean, both from an impact perspective and compassion perspective, those folks would be like, hey, it's okay, uh, let it go right now. How much of a benefit would it be for an organization to save on their costs, right? But uh, but the folks that who don't have projects, definitely they're going to be spotlighted. And uh, having said that, hey, if you are, see, just like I can definitely talk about our clients in the United States. Everyone wants experienced people, talented people, and if you want to provide talent and experienced people to your clients, you're going to try to hire the best, onboard the best people in the industry, right? And for that, you have to pay what would be the market ongoing market demand for that, right? And if if that if that business and the project is still on, I it would be utter foolishness to let anyone of that band go, because if you will not be able to maintain quality, right? So the truth is that I see this in the United States also, right? I mean, I see this in the United States also, that when there are huge layoffs if in an industry, um, uh, people at the senior level are impacted significantly, because predominantly that point of time you see that you would see the ROI, and if the ROI is not there, then say, hey man, we can't take this expense. Again I'm saying that I think the Indian IT industry has been very sensitive and for the lack of a better word, compassionate in these times, to try to have everyone huddle together,
True,
and
true.
get past this.
Right. But do you think so? You mentioned, let's say, you mentioned about ROI, right? Ultimately, if there's a relatively a mid management person or a senior person who's not of enough value, then obviously the organization is going to look at that person critically. Point taken. But the other scenario where a person was, adding a lot of value to the organization, but you could, due to contraction from the client side, uh, the situation changes, right? It changes overnight. Would it be a fair statement to make that, given that person has at the moment become, if I can use that word, redundant, should that person probably approach top management, maybe the CEO of the organization, and say, you know what, hey, I'm ready to wear multiple hats. I can hold multiple projects, maybe internal projects. Uh, in such a scenario, do you think in the organization would be, reasonable enough to give that person an opportunity and take it forward?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, I think so. Any creative ideas from individuals is always welcome, be it in uh, a non-pandemic time or this pandemic time, right? More so in this pandemic time, uh, everyone. It's 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 it it's it's sad to see anyone go, right? Uh, as uh, uh, as an entrepreneur, I I won't like to ever try to be in that position unless you're compelled to do so.
Mhm.
It's definitely not pleasant. There's so many things, there are many connotations to letting any individual go, their support, this family situations and stuff. So if an individual has creative ideas and is becomes a um, uh, partner, and say, hey, uh, I understand the situation, and but let's do this, let's do that, okay? That's always good. And just to add to, if a person is has been very valued in an organization, and the person, through no fault of his or her, has been uh, you know doesn't have a project, then I think that organization should be uh, uh, really needs to look at it from a different lens, and to find creative ways to keep this most valued individual on its continue with it, right? I mean, in this situation, right, it's just basically partnering together partnering together to make go through
Make
this
things
tough
work.
time,
Yeah,
and once you come out of this tough times, there's definitely going to be, it may take a while, but there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, Vikram.
true.
It's not going to last forever.
Sure. So we spoke about, senior folks, mid management folks. Let's talk about people who are still in very early stage, maybe a year, 2 year of experience, or maybe people who are still in the second year or third year of the engineering, who want to build their career in IT. What would be your message to those people? Because they see a lot of uncertainty in terms of an IT career in future.
I this I'm not I don't I'm not too sure if I agree with you blanketly that there's uncertainty in an IT career in the future, because uh, the reality is that technology is, we cannot be divorced from technology. Technology is there in everything that we do, man. I mean, look at right now, we're using technology. If we want to order food from our restaurant, you're using technology. If you want to board a flight, you make tickets. Every aspect of a life is married to technology, right?
Mhm.
So, and if you look at the timeline of the software industry, right? You've added more and more people in exponentially over the years, right? And there's no uh, dearth of opportunities, and we are only going through a temporary stage. Okay, now now what I can say is that technology also has major shifts, right? So one to for these individuals who are already pursuing a career or rather who are studying say computer science or something related, I would say that you should always, while it's important uh, uh, to follow your curriculum, but the need of the hour is to also see what's going on in the industry, and to try to develop, try to do some projects while you are still in college, so that when you come out of college, right, you're more hireable. You already have some experience. You can speak that, hey, I've done this. You're looking for this. I've already done this, as opposed to as being a fresher, and you say, hey, come lead me, right? So here this individual is already has some experience. So
Mhm.
I would say that, try to get ahead of the game and look at what's going on, read up, try to do some projects with your classmates, and that will keep you ahead. Invest in yourself is another thing which I say, right? I mean, uh, a lot of people, sadly, okay, uh, be it while they are in colleges or while they may be working, they're and this is unfortunate, and this is what whoever I speak, I say that I recommend the same thing, right? I say that just keep investing in yourself. It's not just about the work that you do in your workplace or something. You have to do more. You have to try to get a new skill or learn something, that can better you in doing your job. And if you're doing that, right, then that's going to take you ahead. You don't have to stop, totally ban all recreational activities, be it where if you're working or you're in college. No, I'm not asking that, but that investment is necessary. I mean, we all go to the gym or try to stay fit, right? And that's something that we do for our future. So same way, you have to do that for your career, for your mental growth.
Right. So if I can sum it up, Jyoti, what you're saying is it's not the time for uh, early stage engineers, if we can use that word, like what's still in third year or second year. Uh, they should not be gloomy at all. They should stop overthinking. They should basically invest this time and utilize this time in learning as much as they can. They should try to do as many projects as they can because this is the right time. And I think a lot of material is available in the internet right now. Uh, a lot of them is free of cost. So there can't be a better time because you can't go out for many things right now. You have to stay indoors. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the best time that for anybody to utilize on learning, right?
I know people I know people who are in their late 50s, who are still learning, who are going to sites like Coursera and all, are still learning new skills. I mean, think about it. If they can do it, what's a 20-year-old got to complain, man? Huh?
Yeah, but Jyoti, I'm going to be speaking as a devil's advocate here. So a person who is in 50s vis-a-vis a person who is in maybe early 20s,
Uh-huh.
probably there's a change in generation or a mindset. You know what I'm saying, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
you would be seeing people who are like whom you hired 15 years back vis-a-vis people whom you hired today.
Yeah.
there's a paradigm shift in the mindset.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, probably the people who were in the prior generations, like they used to think slightly, so they had some time to assimilate and you know move along. But the generation of today is like they want it that way, right? If it's not happening, it's not happening.
I'm sorry, that's not going to fly. I mean, there's a lot of theories out there. This millennial culture is not going to work, right? I mean, you have to be responsible for yourself, and you have to invest in yourself.
Yeah, you
Okay.
need to give time. Basically, there's no other option.
Instant gratification cannot exist in every scenario. It cannot.
Yeah, that's a strong statement, Jyoti. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. It's a time for all the so-called millennials right now to think or maybe rethink that probably they need to re-strategize because things are not that great at you it used to be a quarter back. Great. So just moving on, let's, because we covered short-term impact in detail, let's quickly jump to the long-term impact of COVID on IT industry. Do you think IT industry will be able to eventually bounce back and excel in the post-COVID era, or do you feel like it's still gonna be a bit gloomy in the long run as well?
So, if you're talking about long run, which is like 2 years down the line, absolutely not, man. I mean, we are going to be back. Uh, you know, the world, this COVID-19 coronavirus is going to be behind us, and we'll all be, going about life as usual. Okay. Uh, there's the odds of another infection or pandemic coming is like something like an asteroid hitting the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not going to happen. Okay. Uh, so so yeah, I mean, we're going to bounce back. Just prior to this, think about us, right? If you and I had this conversation, say in November, we won't even be having this conversation,
True.
right?
True.
So of course it's going to bounce back, and and I said, I mean, technology is just going to is here to stay, man. Uh, you There's going to be more and more advancement. There's going to be space exploration, so many different things. How are you going to do that without technology? And and so I mean, the need for the technology is one of the best places to have a career, a life around, right? So I mean, um, uh, it's just a matter of time. It's a tough time, no doubt about it. But it's okay, man. This is gonna for those that are undergoing tough times. You know, tough times make a person, man, and one should learn many things. You learn many things when you're not when you're going through difficult situations, right? And it puts a lot of perspective into things, right? In terms of your expenses, um, your image, so many different things, right? Things which are probably nonsensical. And so and so the basic thing is like, when in this situation you come to realize, most important thing is family,
Mm-hmm.
getting by, you know
Mm-hmm.
and being the best, learning more. So yeah, I mean, those are the very foundations that if one realizes, it's going to make you a better person. For the people that can come out of this through a tough time, they will be far better, because
Right. Mm-hmm.
I can say this with experience, right? It's if you have a smooth ride throughout, uh, you're missing out. For those that have faced setbacks and challenges,
Mm-hmm.
those are the areas which give you a bump up. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
if you take if you are able to realize that and get a handle on it.
Sure. Sure. So Jyoti, so you were the person who really fought and sailed across the global economic or financial crisis in 2008. There cannot be a better person on this panel right now uh, who could say so, because you've seen it through, right? Person who is able to maintain that momentum in the tough time. is not merely a survivor, but you're saying he'll be clearly the winner in the long run, correct?
So yeah, so definitely I've also, and we have also undergone through very challenging times. Okay, and I can definitely say that when you are undergoing tough situations, make compromises in terms of your lifestyle. But those things are not that important. Okay, don't worry what other people think of you. Okay, just be focused on on learning and trying to see, hey, once we come out of this, what's going to happen. It's just, this will not continue forever for sure. Okay,
Mhm.
but you have to enhance yourself, you have to invest in yourself. Just go about it. For a person that is impacted and really takes this as a challenge, you may be far better than a person who is not impacted and is just doing their job, and at the end of the day is going through you know their life like nothing happened, like you're watching TV or Netflix, etc. So a
Mhm.
person who takes up on a challenge is really going to come out as a winner in once this gets done. You'll see a lot of stars coming out of this, when this is behind us.
Sure. Now let's talk specifically about Impressico Business Solutions, the organization which you are heading right now. Do you feel there's a need to pivot uh, or re-strategize or reimagine few things?
So so um so uh so let me uh, split it into two ways, right? So one is that as an organization, we always need to do a check of whether the pandemic or not, as to where we are, whether we are going right in our strategy or not. Okay, be it our onboarding strategy, our go-to-market strategy, a positioning strategy, and etc. Right. So now this situation, naturally, just like any other organization, has impacted us too, right? And we as Impressico, right? We have a lot of senior people within the organization. We have been talking about this and reassessing, reevaluating uh, what we should be doing even right now. And to be very honest with you, uh, this is the time I can say for that. Impressico is very blessed to have very talented and sincere people. The productivity of the organization, I don't believe, has gone down at all. In fact, if anything, it's probably gone up during this pandemic, right? And and everyone's working hard at at their at the KRAs. At the senior level, we have been talking about maybe different markets, different um, industries that we probably need to work, and what should be our strategy. I think this time to deliberate on things which maybe we were not doing so when we were just like running. Okay,
Mhm.
that much. And also at the same time, we are also trying to see things that may perhaps we were postponing for a better day, to talk about perhaps um, uh, an area to focus upon, a new technology area to focus upon, or on a product, right? We have in the past, we have talked about a few products and we have taken it to some place, but then again we have been um, uh, because of things that have come by, we put this on the side burner. Okay, so this is the time when we are actually reevaluating, because even though I know that this thing is not going to come again, but I can say that this is the best time to really talk and strategize and uh, try to be a better organization as when we come out of this. Yeah.
True, true. Great, Jyoti. So I think, Jyoti, those were all the questions I have for today. Thank you very much for your valuable insight and time. It was great to have you today, indeed an honor for me. I wish you, your family, and Impressible family all the very best for the future. And I would like to share something with my audience that I have worked with Impressico in the past, and hence I know this company quite well. I can vouch for the great culture this company maintains. So I'm sure that Impressico will be clearly a winner and a savior in the current crisis and even the post-COVID era. So thank you, Jyoti, once again.
Thank you, Vikram, for those kind words. It's very nice of you. I mean, we are indeed fortunate that you chose to uh, be with us for the time that you were with us, and continue to be with us. The very fact that you and I are speaking on this great platform that you have developed is a good thing. Thank you for the nice things that you have said about our culture. We keep learning every day. Everyone that is part of joins Impressico adds on to that. And we endeavor Impressico endeavors to be, in its journey, one of the best out there, both in terms of excellence in what we do, and also to make this one of the finest places that people call it their home. Our Even though we are, we still in our early stages, if you compare ourselves compared to the big organizations, but we are fortunate that the clients that we have are all through recommendations, and really acknowledge uh, the quality of work, the sincerity, and we have, I don't want to take names, but we've displaced larger organizations of repute with the quality of work that we do, and the credit goes to everyone that is within the organization. I'm very proud of the people that are with us, and hopefully that partnership can take us really places in time to come. Thank you once again for inviting me. It's really been an honor to be on your platform, Meritroad. Vikram, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jyoti. I would like to conclude this webinar now. So basically, what we concluded in this discussion is that any setbacks that Indian IT industry is facing right now is going to be a temporary phenomena. However, the true meaning of temporary is unknown at the moment. We do not know how long this temporary is going to last. It's going to be a few months, a few quarters, that is unknown. However, what we are sure of is that once the situation starts improving, Indian IT industry will be the first one to rather quickly come up to speed as compared to any other industry, right? However, in order to achieve that, people who are directly or people who are working directly for various IT companies, they need to constantly reskill and upgrade themselves. And to do that, there's only one mantra, which is learn. Please do not kill your valuable time these days by thinking, in an endless manner of procrastination. As Jyoti said, and I kind of second that opinion, that this is the right time to invest in yourself by learning as much as you can, by doing projects as much as you can. So, because we know that the value and the benefits that Indian IT industry has provided is immense, not only to India, but across the globe. And we will continue to play the same key role even in the post-COVID era. So with that, I would like to sum up this webinar for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jyoti, once again, and stay safe and stay tuned for our next webinar, which will be announced very soon.
Thank you, Vikram.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, bye. Take care. Bye, everyone.